Call 219 here, and we got an unboxing. So this gun comes with a story, just like every other gun that I buy in my life. So everybody's been ranting and raving about Girsan. Everybody has. The guys have been going to shows. They've been talking to these guys online. I've joined in on some of the chats and asked some questions. So I was kind of really, digging into some of the content that the other YouTubers were showing. So I figured upon myself to give them a try. Now, please forgive my heat's kicking on. It was snowing. Yes, I know. It's Northwest Indiana, and it's April. So I'm telling you right now, Girsan had two problems back in the day. First of all, their guns were bulky and they were ugly. The second thing is they're made in Turkey, and a lot of people have political leanings. I think that's the only two things that really kept them back, other than nobody knew about them. Nobody knew about them. You had to really search the deep corners of the web to find this manufacturer. So they've really hit the scene like gangbusters. I mean, Canic's doing it now with their TP9SFs and their small compact micro guns. I mean, everybody's got a Canic. I even owned one at one point. So I think Girsan is making that gear towards becoming more well known in gun culture. I guess those are the three things that hold this company back. Is nobody knew about them. They're made in Turkey, and some of their guns were really ugly back in the day. So I picked this one up, and we'll get into it as I turn it around here. We're going to be looking at the Girsan Reguard. This is a Gen 4. Mine came with a book, a lock, and then this little cleaning rod right here. That's all I got in one magazine. Here's the gun itself. We'll throw the box aside as my heat kicks on. Please forgive me about that. So the story about this gun is, me and Sean, the researcher, we've been looking at guns. It's tax season, folks. Even though I work at a gun shop, I still don't get paid anything for the job that I do. It's little to nothing. But in the end, I get to handle a lot of firearms. And again, I've handled a bunch of Girsans in the past, and I just never liked their guns. Then they started making a lot of Beretta clones. A lot of people make them. Taurus, their PT92 line, they make them. A lot of people copy this design because it's true. It's a true design, and it works. The Turkish military and police officers carry this as their sidearm. And then, the military, our military, carried it way back in the day, all the way up until present time, until it was replaced by the SIG 320. So the Beretta, I guess, design has been out there, the open barrel. So the real story about this is, again, we were talking about guns that we wanted to buy, and I was gonna go out to another gun tuber shop and buy a Smith & Wesson that they had there, but I figured, the weather was crappy. I was kind of running late. I'm gonna go check out my local and see what they had. And then I was gonna actually buy another 1911. I was looking at them. They had TIOS in the case. They had, again, Rock Islands, and I didn't quite want to mess with them. And then the owner came over, and she's like, what are you looking for? Haven't seen you in a while, because I'm broke and I don't have any money. And I was like, well, I'm just mulling around. I was kind of looking for maybe some kind of older gun, some kind of surplus, and I see that you don't have it. And I have, most of the time I'm walking into shops nowadays around my area, it's Glock this, Glock that, Smith & Wesson this, Smith & Wesson that. And, I have these guns. They're decent guns for the most part. I'm bumbling with that 26. But for the most part, they're good guns. And I have them. I've had them in the past. And, I wanted something different. So I'm looking at the case, and I'm kind of scouring. I'm looking at, some of these other guns. Well, she happened to come over with this gun. This gun was bought from somebody that I guess apparently doesn't know anything about guns. They bought it, brought it back, didn't like it, tried to get their money back, but that's not how gun shops work, and ended up trading this gun back in and getting something else that this particular person had an easier time of shooting. How that is, I don't know. It must have been somebody that, you know, is not totally familiar with firearms. Now, this is an all steel gun, you know, or all metal gun, I should say. So maybe, you know, it was too heavy for that person. I'm not quite sure, but I got a heck of a deal on it. There's the same model. Maybe a couple of different features were different, like the grips or something, but I paid well under for this gun than the gun that was in the case. So I bought this used. And again, a lot of people talk about their political leanings towards countries. Me, I don't care, especially if I buy it secondhand. Then I'm not really, I guess, contributing, but I am making a video. So anyways, looking at the gun, again, open top design, single double action, G10 grips, 3-dot sight system on there, pretty sweet. Even I like this raised rear sight, because it almost gives you like a cocking ledge. If you look up here at the front sight, it looks like it's dovetailed in there, so you could probably move that out and put a fiber optic in there if you want to get kind of jiggy with it, Will Smith. But it's got front and rear cocking serrations where you can really get a hold of it and you know, pull it back. It's got extended mag release. Mag comes out 18 rounds, but I only got one mag. But I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of guns come through the shop. Look, it's still got oil on it, so she didn't shoot it a whole lot. Probably shot a mag through it and gave up on it. I will caution you, when you buy used guns, you might be inheriting somebody else's problem. But from what I've seen on the internet with these guns, they've been more than reliable, so I'm not worried about that. The other little features of it is I don't know, skeletonized hammer, commander hammer, whatever you want to call it. Pretty slick there. It does have serrations on that as well, along with serrations on the trigger guard. Now, some of the videos that I've watched, there's other designs where they didn't have the finger grooves in there. This one does have the finger grooves. Pretty much it was like this in the front with the back strap with the serrations there in the front and the rear. This one just has them in the rear. They're not on the finger grooves, as you can see there. For the most part, man, I'm telling you, the fit and finish of this gun is basically a brand new gun. I honestly think they shot one mag out of there and it just wasn't their cup of tea. We'll check out the trigger pull here. It does have the lanyard loop here. There's a little bit of slack in the trigger, not much. I'm getting about 3.5 pounds out of there on single action. So there's just that little bit of take up. There's the wall, break, reset. Reset's pretty good, right there. Pretty nice, man. I mean, double action is double action. You know, it's long, gritty, and nasty, but it still breaks pretty clean. But really nice gun. What separates, I think, the design from Beretta is the decocker mechanism. On the Beretta, when you decock it, it stays down in the down position. So you got to remember to flip that up. On this one, hit it and it flips up on its own. So that's a pretty cool feature on itself. And then you get the double action pull. The grips are G10, but they have this little window in the grips. If you can look at the magazine, it's cut out on the magazine. So when you insert it in there and you look, you can see through there and you can see your rounds, just like an AR mag would have with the windows on there. Again, it's pretty stern, man. I don't think it's been worked a whole lot. The mag drops out of there pretty good, so reloads would probably be pretty easy to do. It does have a rail section on the bottom, so you can put a light or laser on there. I'll probably put a light on it. I mean, all metal gun, so it's really gonna soak up that recoil. I mean, again, just wasn't for somebody, but the price was for me, I'll tell you that much. And you know, I wanted something different. You know, again, I show these budgety kind of guns because we're all living in that world. We don't make tons of money where we're doing, we're buying Beretta after Beretta, or sick Glock clone after sick Glock clone, where they have to change everything on it to make it perfect. This one's pretty perfect in itself. I do think some Beretta parts are compatible with these guns, and I'm pretty sure some of the 92 magazines are compatible with this gun. So that's the bad thing about my area. There's not a huge Beretta presence in my area unless you go to, somewhere downstate in a higher end gun shop. Then you start seeing Berettas, and not so much the clones. The clones are pretty thick in my area for the most part, so they're readily available to purchase. So that's another kind of small downside to buying this gun, is magazine availability in my location. So I'm going to be looking out for that. I'm going to be checking out Mag Warehouse, see if I can find some magazines for this. Again, if you know where you can find some of these magazines, throw it down in the comment sections. Help a brother out. All in all, man, I'm pretty stoked about it. I mean, it fits my hand well. I mean, it's an iconic, gun design. It's been in Die Hard. I mean, all the villains would carry this gun. I mean, it's been everywhere. So it's a pretty tried and true design. And I think, again, Girsan is making great strides in some of the guns that they're making. It's just the fact there. Take down the firearm, I'll make another video on that. It's basically, this is your takedown lever here, this is your slide release. All you do is push that, make sure your gun's unloaded first. Push this little button here, that'll push out, and then the slide comes off, and you don't have to pull the trigger, but just make sure your gun's unloaded. So that's another great feature of these guns. I love guns where you don't quite have to pull the trigger on it. We've seen a lot of different designs over the years where guns are now just lifting off there with a touch of a button, not doing the 2-tab pull down anymore, where you gotta pull the trigger to take it apart and clean it. Again, this is a mistake purchase that I gained the value out of. Again, there's not any wear on it. If you can see here, it's still got some oil on there coming out, seeping out. So probably shot a mag through it and then didn't like it. Me, I like full-size guns. I got a couple of them, like my CZ75. That's a very fantastic gun, all-metal gun. Holds recoil well. I shoot that gun real nice. My Beretta 1951, that surplus gun that I bought, that's a pretty decent shooter for being old, which really pretty much paved the way for this design here that we're seeing on Beretta, and now all these Beretta clones that came out. So there's a lot of history behind the design. For the most part, what a find here. Maybe I'll go back and get that Smith & Wesson if it's available. Maybe I won't. I'd like to go out and shoot this gun, but the weather's been so bad here recently. It might be a hot minute before I get to shoot this gun, but for the most part, it's pretty slick. Now, you do have ambient controls here. I'm not sure if you might be able to switch the mag release out and put it to the other side, if that interests you, if you're a left-handed shooter, but it does have it here on the left side of the firearm, or on the right side of the firearm. So you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good here with this kind of purchase. Again, I've watched so many people rant and rave about this company over there in Turkey. They're putting out a lot of new guns. Just like Glock, Turkish shotguns have been showing up in mass quantities. Any gun store I go into now, it's got some kind of Turkish aspect or touch to the individual's gun counter. So they're getting more and more popular. Back in the day, they weren't as popular. Usually it was the PT92 from Taurus that got all the credit. But I'm telling you right now, Girsan is really stepping up their game, and they're really doing a fine job. So I can't wait to shoot this. I like full-size guns. I think it's going to be a pretty cool toy, or it could be my bedside gun. for home defense. So there's a lot of different options and applications I can put this gun through. The one thing I want to say, I'm not for sure. I am going to explore it though. I'm going to take these grips off and see if the window is built into the grips. My thought process in that is yes, it is. So I could probably change the grips out if I don't want that window there. It doesn't quite bother me. I'm more into the functionality of the firearm and making sure it works. Because let's face it, my 26 has really disappointed me over the last few days, and we'll talk about that in another video. But for the most part, if you're looking on the budget market, I know, money's tight nowadays. This might be an option to go to if you have it at your local. From all the information I've gathered, they're good guns. That's why I bought it. Sometimes I call it going out on a limb when you start listening to gun tubers. But I know quite a few people that own this personally, and from those other guys that have been doing the interviews and listening to the product and the people presenting the product, I'm pretty confident in this gun. Even though it is used, I don't think there's a problem with it. I've gone over it. I looked at it. It was just somebody made a mistake, They didn't buy the correct gun that they wanted, and it fell into my hands. So I'm very blessed at times. So that is my little quick review, not so quick review of the Girsan Reguard, the Gen 4. So if you see them in your store, give them a look, pick them up, see if they're for you. Especially if you can't quite afford that Beretta money. What else do we got going on? So in the midst of everything, I posted it on the community tab. We averted tragedy here recently with the car accident from Cindy's parents, and Cindy's daughter was in the car. Thank God nothing came about it. Just some bumps and bruises and a couple of broken bones. So that's really it's a really head scratcher how somebody survived that crash. But we're blessed, and I want to thank everybody for the well wishes. I know we missed the show. Unfortunately, we're gonna miss the next show. Coming up here in the middle of the week for Wednesday rants and raves. We're moving to a different spot, so that's why hopefully I can go out and shoot this gun before we leave, because the spot we're moving to, we're not going to have the property that we're on now, so there's going to be limited to no shooting there. That's just what we have to deal with. But the gun range is down the street. The only problem with that is there's a lot of knuckleheads that show up there, and they don't follow the rules, and it kind of delays the process of making videos. Unfortunately, Second Amendment Arms and Range closed. That's where I used to do all my inside shooting, especially when the weather was bad. That was right before the Coco. So I've been getting a couple of raw deals on where to shoot, but I've talked to some other people, or they said they're welcoming for me to come on to their private range and shoot. So hopefully we can get on there, and we can get through a lot of magazines and a lot of rounds in a short period of time without any kind of interruptions. So again, I want to thank everybody for being patient, especially my folks on Patreon. There's some people that have upped their levels, and there's some new people that have joined. I greatly do appreciate it, guys. I greatly do appreciate it. Everybody on Patreon, thank you. It makes things a little bit easier when I'm mailing stuff out, or like what the guys are doing now, going down to Tulsa, having a couple extra bucks to spend to pick up some really cool patches or knickknacks or something on my journeys. That's what I use my Patreon money for. And I greatly do appreciate it, because I want everybody on that platform to benefit for it, especially when you flip your hard-earned money. And let's face it, man, money's tight in some people's households. But for you guys that are doing that, I from the bottom of my heart, I greatly do appreciate it. So please bear with us the next week. We're going to be moving. We're going to be trying to get everything set up. You never know. I might have better internet than I do now for the show. And we'll probably have like a little studio set up. So it'll be looking half-assed professional at that point. So stay tuned for that stuff. That should be coming in the next few weeks. And hopefully at that point we get back on the busy schedule and we can continue our march to the 200th show. For people that are new to the channel, that are watching the rants and raves, looking at my analytics, that's one of the biggest things that are taking off, is people are just putting on rants and raves and watching it, and watching the tomfoolery that happens on that. So I greatly do appreciate that stuff. After 200 shows, we're going to be ending the series of rants and raves. So make sure you tune in whenever we get our stuff together and we get situated. And maybe in the future, you never know what the future holds. So maybe it may come back. Maybe we'll do something a little bit different along the lines. But for everybody that's participated in the channel, everybody that puts forth effort, I greatly do appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, all the well wishes, dude, that's so great. Again, everybody's okay for the most part. There is a little bit of damage there, but it could have been a lot worse. I like to thank my old and my new subscribers and just the people that zip through. I greatly do appreciate it. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to everybody you watch on YouTube, especially those guys that are down there in Tulsa right now. I wish I could have went, but unfortunately our moving dates fell right into the dates of Wanamaker. So look out for these guys' content, and if you're down there this weekend, hurry up and get down there. Or if you're close to the area, go down there, go meet some of these guys, shake their hands, and create a conversation with other people about firearms and the Second Amendment. Like always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.